All right, welcome back to ChatRoom. I'm Michael,
My name's John.
and today we're going to discuss, college and universities. It doesn't matter if you go to an elite school or, work your way up through a community college and then a 4 year, state school versus elite school.
Hmm.
I know I myself went to undergrad at a school up in Kentucky, and then I went to graduate school in Tennessee, so those are both state schools. But I've got, a sibling that also went to kind of a liberal arts school, kind of one of the more elite schools. And then my dad's come up in the community college system as he actually worked in community colleges for decades. So I love that you asked this question because I do feel like I have so many different perspectives on it to bring. But let me go ahead and open it up to you, John. And what are your thoughts?
Okay, so just to start off, I went to community college straight out of high school at the Chattanooga State Community College, and then I have a 4 year degree at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. So I've kind of seen a little bit of both sides. I haven't went to any big schools like an Ivy League school or anything like that, but I would say that Ivy League schools still matter a little bit. And what I mean by a little bit is I think furthering your career is more along knowing people, making friendships, networking with other people in the school. And I would say an Ivy League school is a little bit more powerful than just your average university. And not because of the teachers, not because of the books, not because of the campus. It has nothing to do with the actual schools. I would just say that the people that you are networking with in that Ivy League school versus like a University of Tennessee, most likely their parents are either very, very successful or they are trying to achieve to be very, very successful. So you're going to find like a lot less people that are just here to get a degree because, their mom told them to. So I think no matter where you go to school or wherever you go, it comes down to networking as far as like furthering your career. And I would say that Ivy League schools have some of the top, like their parents have some of the top, not just like business owners. So like networking through those people, you probably could find a little bit more success than just networking at a community college. But still, at the end of the day, networking, is going to get you so much farther in your career than whether you got an A or whether you got a B or whether you went to this school or whether you went to that school or what state it's in. I don't think any of that really matters. I think it's who you surround yourself with while you're going to school. And that's pretty much my 2 cents on if Ivy League schools or elite schools still matter.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because I was definitely curious. First of all, I feel like I know you fairly well, and that was not the answer
Hmm.
I thought. So it's interesting because I'm going to be on the other side of that. Though I think your points are very valid. I think there's a lot to be said with networking and connections. So if you are surrounding yourself by driven people or people just that already have those connections, then yeah, I can't
Hmm.
entirely disagree with that. Though my counterpoint is it's kind of the argument of like, do you want to be a big fish in a small pond or a small fish in a big pond? And some people like to go to these, like elite colleges, but if they're surrounded by all these other people that are, just like head and above the rest as far as their GPA, they're the valedictorian of their high school. So what? Everybody at Harvard, could be the valedictorian or might likely be.
Right.
So in some ways, you could get lost in that. And you can find, maybe at a state school that you will still have opportunities. Big companies will still reach out to them, have career fairs,
Hmm.
and if you're able to like shine at, say in Auburn, you could still do really well. One of my best
Right.
friends actually, he works so hard and now he's making, upward of, easily six figures in, banking and financial institutions and worked closely with, Wall Street, and he was at Auburn. But, he was driven. He did have some early, probably networking success that made him see those opportunities. It's important to know even what you can strive for, and that may exist outside of this, but, he was able to, use Auburn as a launching pad and didn't have to go to, a Yale, a Princeton, or any of that.
Hmm.
So, especially as school is getting so pricey,
Hmm.
you might think, depending on what your career is it really worth it to pay the exorbitant amount of money?
Right, right. Just to throw a little bit on top of that, so from the website Forbes, it says one of the big benefits of going to Ivy League school is it's got examples like so in CNN or CNN's top 100 startup list, like so the people that started up the company, and 34 of the CEOs all went to Harvard.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so like, so basically, I guess to hit on my point a little bit, because your point was very valid as well. It's not going to Harvard to me that is what gets you farther in your career. It's the fact of you have like, the opportunities to meet someone that probably has something to do with just this one example, CNN at Harvard. You know what I mean? The alumni, their parents, their kids, their grandkids. You know what I mean? Just the to be in that circle. But like I said at the beginning of the show, you still have to be like a go getter, and like you said, you're a small fish in a big pond. But if you can kind of overcome that, there's like a unlimited supply of these awesome career opportunities. If you can just break through that big pond, being the small fish, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So
No, that's a good point for sure. And hard to disagree with those numbers.
Well, one of the downsides to going to Ivy League school from Forbes is basically what you said. The high cost. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
The competitiveness. People fighting for all these different spots in school, trying to be the valedictorian and all that stuff. So, I mean, it could be a hostile environment, but I mean, I think if you're a pretty cool person, and I think if you be yourself, and you might at the end of the day have a little bit more opportunities than just going to a small school. But going to a small school is the same thing. There's a bunch of opportunities at small schools as well. I think it really just comes down to the person and how much they want to network themselves as far as like talking after the degree.
Yeah. I know it's not an equal comparison, but I think of like fraternities and sororities,
Hmm.
how that's kind of a way that, the cynics would say, and some days I'm one of them, having not pledged Greek, but would say, you're paying for friends. But, at the same time, you got the social environment and you got networking. And again, that's a way of connecting, and a lot of people stay close to their fraternity brothers or sorority sisters years on,
Hmm.
and that's opportunity for networking.
Hmm.
So that's kind of that on a small scale.
Yeah, and you can pretty much find those at all colleges as well.
Oh, yeah, yeah. But I mean, I think it's definitely going to your point about just, the importance of connections.
Right, you're right. Alrighty, well that's a wrap up for chat room. Stay tuned for our next video. Like and subscribe.
Yeah, and let us know what you would like to hear more of. We'd love to see your comments.
Yes, sir.